Oh, good morning. You caught me painting my Mona Lisa. Thank you. I thank you. I'm going to sell it. Thank you. All right. We are going to finish up our government presentations today and just kind of finish just jotting some ideas that maybe you didn't get from yesterday here today. And or as you kind of watch and listen to presentations, I have a new assignment for you that's going to be due tomorrow, and that is to kind of write a little reflection slash summary on the types of government. Again, details are here on Google Classroom. You will not need to reflect on your own government. So to answer that question, no, you're not. You already did that with the presentation. So you have one less government to reflect on. Again, all the details are on Google Classroom. And without further ado, we're going to finish up looking at presentations. And we're going to actually start with Emma's today. So I'm going to mute myself and let Emma take over.
Monarchs and aristocrats. Monarchs and aristocrats. Monarchy is a government ruled by kings and queens. Monarchy is the earliest form of government. Most Greek city-states started out as monarchies but changed over time to other forms of government. Aristocracy is a government ruled by upper class of society or by nobility. In Greece, the nobles were people who were descended from high-born ancestors. Some aristocrats claim that their ancestors were mythical ancestors.
I was slow to change, so if you need to read that for a second, just pause it here.
City-states. The Athens, Sparta, and Persian had monarchy and aristocracy. Prince Leopold of Saxe-Coburg was the king of the Athens at one point in time. Gorga was the queen of Sparta at one point in time. And Darius the first, Xerxes, and Artaxerxes were all kings of Persia. Modern-day rulers for monarchy and aristocracy. Queen Elizabeth II is for monarchy and aristocracy. King Abdullah II is for monarchy, and Felipe VI of Spain is for aristocracy. And there's my works cited.
Hello, I'm Colin Gaynor. I'll be doing Tyrant. Summary of Tyrant. Greek Chinos was a cruel and oppressive leader. He was a ruler who seized power unconsciously or inherited such power. Tyrants ruled dictatorship. 10th, 9th century BCE. The monarchy was the usual form of government in the Greek states. Best known tyrannies were found by Cyprus at Corinth, Orthogoths at Sicyon, around 650 BCE. There were also tyrants in Ancient Greece. Tyrants also often sprang from the fringe of the aristocracy. City-states that had tyrant style. Sparta had a similar style. Sparta developed a constitution which all citizens were soldiers, and the soldiers were theoretically even. Small farmers often needed money to support themselves. By 650 BCE, small farmers joined merchants. They did not own land. Modern-day examples. North Korea is one of the modern-day examples because they interested in hypocrisy. Far back, the Kim family from North Korea suffers from the vast famine. The ruler in North Korea is Kim Jong-un. He has been ruling since 2012. Zimbabwe is another modern-day example. The ruler of Zimbabwe was Robert Mugabe, and he served for 29 years. Hello, this is my presentation. So, the Council 500, Athenian Democracy, Direct Democracy by Andrew Menard. Summarizing the Council of 500. The Athens used a direct democracy. A direct democracy is a form of government in which all citizens participate. The Council of 500 was founded in November 2nd, 1795. The Council of 500 was made up of 500 men. There were 10 tribes and 50 men from each of the tribes. Only free adult males could take part in the government, so women did not have the same rights as men at this point. Institutions of the Athenian democracy were the Council of 500, the Assembly, and the juries. The Council of 500 would govern day to day and propose laws. The Assembly voted on laws and voted on ostracism. The juries heard legal cases and decided verdicts. The Council of 500 met in a building at the Agora. There are just ruins of the Agora today. City-state. The Athenian city-state used a direct democracy. The Greek city-states had 3 types of government. There were monarchy, oligarchy, and direct democracy. Oligarchy is a government ruled by a few powerful individuals. Monarchy is a form of government with a monarch at the head. A direct democracy is a system that all the citizens meet to decide on laws. So technically, in a direct democracy, citizens had a voice more than in the other 2 governments. Some modern-day examples. The most prominent example in modern-day society is Switzerland, with practices and modified form of direct democracy under which any law enacted by the nation's elected legislative branch can be vetoed by a vote of the general public. While Parliament passes new amendments to existing enactment, residents can call for a referendum on new laws and against certain international treaties. This option to demand a discretionary choice is a significant component in Swiss direct majority rule system. While the U.S. federal government is a representative democracy, several U.S. states have components of a direct democracy. For example, in Missouri and several other states, Constitution law cannot be altered by the state legislator. This direct democracy component give the people more rights. And then my works cited page. Thank you, Mr. Linak.
Monarchy and Aristocracy Government by Alex Pfeiffer. Monarchy is a government where kings and queens rule. The monarchy can do anything they want. The earliest form of government in Greece was monarchy. Most Greek city-states started out as a monarchy but changed over time to other forms of government. Aristocracy is a government that the upper class of society rules or the nobles rule. In Greece, the nobles were people who descended from high-born ancestors. Monarchy and aristocracy city-states. Sparta had a monarchy government. Sparta always had 2 kings and never a king and a queen. Kings came into throne because of family ancestors. The Greek city-state Corinth started as a monarchy, then later was ruled by an aristocracy. Many city-states followed by changing their monarchy to aristocracy. Modern-day examples. The United Kingdom uses monarchy.
Queen Elizabeth II rules. She has been ruling for 68 years. Denmark uses monarchy. Margaret II has been ruling for 48 years. Turkey uses an aristocracy government. The ruler is Recep Tayyip Erdogan. He has been ruling for 4 years. He came into ruling because of family and he was born in the upper class. South Africa is an aristocracy government. Cyril Ramaphosa is one of the rulers. He has been ruling for 3 years. He also came into government because of great-grandparents and parents. And my works cited.
Oligarchies. About the government, so oligarchies and OC both won the government. They both run classes. Oligarchy runs for wealth and land ownership, but sometimes they both share the power. City-states. Some city-states remain as oligarchy even longer than Athens did. The city-states are known as Magna and Tebas. The government was around 500 BC. Modern day. One place is Russia. They ruled there since the 1400s. Boris Yeltsin. The second place is China. King Alparslan. And yeah.
My presentation is about tyrants. The word means cruel leader. They were also called dictators. Tyrants were poor people not a part of the government. Ancient Greece had this type of government. From the 540s BC to the 522 BC, Polycrates of the Samos ruled from 600 BC to 560 BC. Someone named Cleanthes ruled the city of Sion. The Athens, Corinth, and Argos were other dictated cities. Some modern-day tyrants were Omar al-Bashir, ruling Sudan, Kim Jong-il dictates North Korea, and Than Shwe rules Burma. I also found Robert Mugabe is the tyrant of Zimbabwe.
Oligarchy is my government type. An oligarchy is a government system that is ruled by select people. The people that were chosen to be rulers is because of their wealth, and the land that they own. This government type is ruled by a small group of men. The leaders ruled by delegating power to a small individual, which made it less likely that a single leader could have much power. This wasn't always good. These rich men took advantage over their power, or took advantage over the poor. Where was it used? Athens and Sparta, Greece, were once ruled as an oligarchy. Greek oligarchs ruled as a group. There was not one leader to the list. The democracy in Athens had several leaders. This democracy was broken up briefly by oligarch revolutions. One modern-day example of an oligarchy is in Russia. Most people think that Vladimir Putin is the only leader, but he's part of an oligarchy. Another example of a modern-day oligarchy is Saudi Arabia, because the rulers of a royal family, they're considered an oligarchy because the country is ruled by a small group of individuals.
We're excited.
Okay, I did Tyrants, slide by me. Okay, so tyrant was someone who took power in an illegal way, and some tyrants would help to work the poor, make programs so that they could get jobs, and others would make laws that would cancel their debts the poor people had. For Greeks, a tyrant was someone who got the power of a king without being born into royalty. Government, poor people were not in the government. They did not like being shut out of it, so they showed this by rebelling. And the tyrants showed that being united behind one leader can make a lot of changes. City-states that had tyrants, Athens had tyrants, and by 500 BC, most city-states didn't have tyrants anymore. Today, we think of tyrants as harsh and bad people, but the Greeks thought of them as good, fair people. Modern-day examples of countries that have tyrants: Cuba, Iran, North Korea. And the last three I cannot pronounce, but yeah.
And our final one by Jack Johnson. The Rise of the Oligarchy. Oligarchy, and what this is: a small group of people being in control of a country or organization. This group is selfish and use their money to take power. They are most likely a king, or nowadays a president. The king could run until he dies, and if it's a president, he or she might run for 4 to 8 years. Cities and states that use oligarchies: America, China, Iran, Russia, and Saudi Arabia. Modern day examples: the Trump family and Yevgeny Prigozhin. And we're excited. Thank you for the presentations all. I'll make sure you have some decent notes over that, and we will be needing those here shortly in the future.